Yesterday we discussed the subtle form of pamada and apamada, just roughly. So some may not understand properly because it was not fully explained. There was no essential parts in it. So it becomes necessary to explain in more detail, especially this Natita Kriyaya and Olina Bodhita. So we shall go through it again today. This expression Natita Kriyaya, if you practice in a stop and go method, sometimes you are practicing, sometimes you are not, you are resting, sometimes you are gazing, sometimes you are spaced out, sometimes you may be noting, sometimes you may be fantasizing. Then there will be a lot of gaps in your practice. Only when there are no gaps, only when the practice is continuous, will you be able to build up energy. But when there is gaps in your practice, then there will be no energy. You will be losing energy. Only when the practice is continuous without resting, then you'll be said to be heedful in a very subtle way. If you are resting and causing gaps in the practice, then you are said to be heedless in a subtle way. If there are gaps and in times of when you are not not noting, if you are not noting, in those moments, kilesas are bound to enter the stream of consciousness. As the saying goes, with mindfulness, kilesas are eradicated. Without mindfulness, kilesas enter your stream of consciousness. So you have to practice in such a way that your noting mind is continuous, preceding noting mind is continuous with the succeeding noting mind, so that there will be no gaps to allow kilesas to enter. Then there will be a lot of energy, like in the case of when you are making ropes or strings. The rope is made up of individual fibers, which are weak in themselves. Individually they are weak, but when they are intertwined to form, say, when 2 fibers are combined or 3 fibers combined and so on, this rope is going to give a wonderful strength. So also when energies are combined, energies are continuous, you can build up your momentum. This is the nature of the practice. So when you are noting, kilesas will be prevented from entering, because sati protects your mind from kilesas. As you build up momentum, as you build up strength, then you're going to build up energy, so that your noting energy will gain the upper hand of kilesas. And you have to practice in such a way as to be continuous, so as not to allow these kilesas. Then if it's Attita Kriyaya, then you are said to be heedful, and if you are Natita Kriyaya, you are said to be heedless, pamara. Yet another analogy given is the analogy of the action of chameleon. This animal moves sometimes while mating or going after food. It goes, sometimes it runs and then stops and then runs again towards its mate or food. Such is Anatita Gachati, going with doing stop and go method, not continuously, not moving continuously. It goes sometimes, then stops and looks around, then goes again. In this way, it is not continuous in its activities. So also with the practice of wholesome deeds, skillful deeds, such as dana kusala, the skillful deed of offering, or any other kusala deeds, such as listening to the Dhamma, all this practice of the high level discipline of the way of mindfulness, whoever it may be, monk or lady. When they are doing dana, sometimes they may do dana for one day, later on after a long lapse, and they may do it again, and in this way the activities, the skillful activities are not continuous. Also when they are paying respect or doing offerings, they are not continuous. Sometimes they may be doing, other times they are not. Only after some time they may be doing it, after forgetting for a long time. And listening to the sublime Dhamma too, they may listen for one day or so, and then later on they rest, and only after a long lapse of time they may listen to this sublime Dhamma. Now in this case, Sayadaw says women are very diligent in listening to the Dhamma talks. As for men, mostly they are lazy, they tend to shrink or withdraw from this listening. They are not so patient like the women. So in this way, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. Especially the practice of the Dhamma, in order to eradicate kilesas, some are not continuous in the practice. They may be practicing for 5 days, 10 days, or 2 weeks. Then after a long lapse of time, they may resume it again. And also in the daily practice too. In the morning they are fresh, they are energetic, they may be practicing meticulously and noting very strongly. But later on in the daytime, they tend to become relaxed. Then the energy goes down as the time goes on. In the afternoon and especially at night times, then the energy is down to zero. So they are not continuous in the practice, and what they are failing in their duty, such is Natita Kriya, which amounts to pamada, heedlessness. And if one practices continuously, not failing in their duty, in this case the practice of the Dhamma, they are said to be Atika Kriya, that is apamada, heedful. As for this Natita Kriya, one is not moving about, there's no movement, there's no activity. Instead everything is in resting. There's no motion, becomes motionless. In the Satipatthana practice, one has got to practice Satipatthana every second without missing, without losing the moments, so that one's mind becomes expansive and active. Noting every arising object with aiming, taking an aim at object, and then note with energy. Then there will be this movement or activity. If there's no aiming of position and no exertion of energy, then everything will become quiet, motionless, and everything will stop. There will be no mindfulness, sati. If you lose one moment, then you lose 1 moment of energy. If you lose mindfulness for 2 moments, then you lose 2 moments of energy. And if you stop for 10 moments, then 10 moments your energy is lost. And in 1 minute, with 60 seconds at the rate of 1 second per noting, then if you lose 1 minute, then you lose 60 times this energy. This is becoming laxitude. So, as for the mind, it has to be moving, in motion all the time. Then only when it is active, the mind will be expansive, and it can cover up, or it can grasp the object to be noted. Otherwise it will shrink and miss the object. Only when it is expansive and fresh will you be able to practice properly. And for that excuse me, And this expansiveness is the result of vitaka, aiming, or taking an aim. And the freshness, activity, is the result of virya, energy. So only when these two mental powers are exerted, applied, will there be this expansiveness of the mind and freshness of the mind, activity of the mind. Otherwise there will be no expansiveness, and there will be no freshness and no activity. Instead there will be only motionless, resting, and you become laid back and you become relaxed. That is Olina Buddhita. So this expression Vipara can only arise. Vipara means moving activity with expansion. It can only arise when there is no gap in the practice, nirantara, doing without any gap. If you cannot exert these two kinds of mental powers, then the mind will shrink and withdraw from the practice instead of being expansive and active. Then it will lead, you'll be led to lack of exertion of energy, and you soon become exhausted even if you exert energy. That is Chinameda, sloth and torpor. And you will not be wakeful, you will not be watchful, active, diligent, vigilant. Instead, you become laid back. There will be this laxing energy, and the mindfulness will not be continuous and expansive. If there is no aiming, the power of aiming and the power of energy, you are said to be Olina Vodita, that is Pamada, you are heedless. And the opposite is Anolina Vodita, you are Apamada, heedful. This Nikshita Chandata is laxitude and weak chanda or zeal in the practice. When you are practicing, you need strong zeal. And lack of strong zeal is what is given as Nikshita Chandata. Now, the benefits of the Satipatthana are significant, not insignificant, no trifle matter. If you know, then you will appreciate it, that it is highly rewarding. And you will wish to realize these benefits, knowing the benefits of the practice, knowing that you are entitled, or you can really realize these benefits. Then you come to have faith in it, and come to acceptance, leading to zeal, chanda. Like when you're taking food, you are hungry, and also you have great zeal, great desire to eat. Then you take that food. When you take that food, then you'll be able to relish it, enjoy it. In the practice also, in order to taste the delight, to realize the taste of the fruit of the Dhamma, the result of the Dhamma, you must first understand the benefits and have a zeal to realize those benefits. This faith is necessary, and with the real faith, you must have the faith to realize the benefits, the faith, and then the zeal to undertake the practice, and the actual practice. If when you are taking food, if you are not taking, although you want to take food, if you don't take it, then also you will not get the required results. So also with the practice, you must have zeal to realize the benefits, and you must have zeal to undertake the practice, and really undertake that practice. Then only you will enjoy the taste of the Dhamma. So, to say it again, first you must have zeal to gain the benefits, then you must have zeal to undertake that practice, and you really practice. Then there will be this Dhamma experience, Dhamma delight. Now, in the case of this Nikita Chanada, you are not having strong zeal to undertake the practice, especially in this practice of high-level discipline of the way of mindfulness. You need real courage, heroic energy, and you must have this strong zeal, heroic zeal, and heroic practice. You must be energetic, active. Otherwise, you are said to be heedless in a subtle way, pamada, subtle pamada. Then if you have real zeal to realize the benefits, zeal to undertake the practice, and practice it meticulously, energetically, then you are said to be heedful in a very subtle way, that is apamada. So you must be able to gain the benefit of the practice, not in a half-hearted manner. If you take food in a half-hearted manner, you will not enjoy the quality of the food. So too with the Dhamma, you must have the real heart to practice the Dhamma. Then we have this expression, Likita Durata. Now this Durata has different connotations. The first one is burden or responsibility. Then we have this, the purpose or objective of the responsibility, or the Lavnavariya, exertion of energy. So these are the connotations of this Durata. Now in the practice is shouldering the burden of Lavnavariya, the energy. You are shouldering it, you are taking this responsibility to exert your energy. From where? From the stage of three stages of, or three categories of energy, Vriya, beginning with Arambha Dhatu, the initial launching energy. When you start coming to the retreat and listen to the method of practice in order to undertake the mindfulness, then you start to initiate the energy, Vriya. Let us say you sit and watch the abdomen and observe rising and falling, and every arising object you begin to apply energy. This is your initial launching energy. In walking too, you pay attention to your foot and watch the steps and start to note every movement of the foot. This is again the initial launching energy, such as Arambha Dhatu. So, noting every arising object, beginning with the primary object, you apply this initial launching energy. You are, in a way, you are shouldering this burden of energy. And when it comes to difficult situations like unbearable pain in your body when you are sitting, then you have to boost up your energy, enhance your energy, not to shrink back, not to just throw away or cast away this burden of Vriya. Instead, you should enhance or boost up the energy without loss of energy, without getting exhausted, and with the exertion of energy. So in this way, you shoulder this energy by enhancing your virya. So if you're not practicing at all, you're said to be leaving aside this burden or casting away or this burden of virya. In that case, you are heedless, pamada, and if you are not casting away or throwing away your burden of virya, instead you are enhancing your energy, boosting up your energy, then you are said to be apamada, heedful. As you are undertaking the practice, the burden of virya is on you, and to what extent do you have to shoulder or carry this burden? To what stage? Until what stage? Until you reach the target. Now you have a target in your practice, and you should carry this burden of virya until you reach the target. That kind of virya is the third stage of energy, known as parakama dhatu. That is the energy in stages in order to reach the goal, the final energy to reach the goal. Instead of leaving aside this burden, you take this burden all along towards the goal. And that is apamara, heedfulness. Then instead if you fail to do that, you will not realize any benefit of the practice. Instead you fail in your duty, that is pamada, you become heedless. So you are shouldering this burden if your shoulder is strong, or if your head is strong, you can put your burden on your head or on your hip or whatever, whichever part of the body is strong. You can carry it, you can sling on your shoulder, or you can lift it up, and so on. So as much as you do that, you will become, you will gain the practice. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Then the virya will gain momentum by itself. And to what extent would it go? It will go as far as the tender stage of Uriya Jnana, the knowledge of the fast arising and passing away, or seeing the fleeting momentary nature of experience. Then the kind of virya that will arise is known as arada virya, sustained energy. Virya which has been initiated and is sustained all along, without dropping, without weakening. Initially there is a virya, then the succeeding virya, energy, is based on this preceding virya, preceding energy. With the preceding energy, the succeeding energy gains momentum, and in this way the energy becomes sustained. And this will lead to Pegahida virya. Now Pegahida virya means uplifting energy. Just like when a substance is lifted up to a certain height, instead of falling down or stagnating in the middle, it goes up and up. That is what is meant by this Pegahita virya, uplifting energy. And as much as this virya is strong, it's going to build up momentum. If you drop it, if you just weaken your energy, lose your energy, then it will be difficult to pick it up again. So you do it every second of the time, so that this Pegahita virya, uplifting energy, can gain momentum. Then when you reach the stage of maturity of the insight knowledge, you are said to have gained this paripurna virya, fulfilling energy. Paripurna Virya. Fulfilling energy, full energy, gaining insight, realizing the Dhamma, at which stage you don't have to exert excessive energy, because things will move on with momentum. You don't have to exert special energy. Instead, it will move on. The noting will move on. The practice will move on by itself at this stage of maturity. As yogis are wont to report to the teachers, that previously they have to exert a lot of energy. They have to exert their aiming power, take an aim at the object. Now they don't have to do that. Things occur automatically and in a very easy way, in a comfortable way. The analogy given in the text is just like when you are driving a bullock cart with 2 bulls or 2 oxen, which are of equal strength, and the road is quite not bumpy, the road is quite straight and free of traffic, so that the cart driver doesn't have to worry too much. It drives the bullock cart very easily and comfortably. And the modern analogy will be driving a vehicle, as you sometimes do in your country. When you are driving a good vehicle, free of traffic, especially on sunny morning, then you can drive at ease, not closing your eyes, of course. You have to keep alert, but you don't have to exert unnecessary energy. You can drive, you can cruise along. That is what is given as the analogy. So that you should not cast away your burden. You must shoulder it, so that it will only build momentum and goes up and up. You should not cast away your burden. Or once you reach the stage of fulfillment, maturity, even if you wish to throw down your burden, it will not go down. You will not be able to throw it down. Even if you throw it down, it will not fall down. You will experience this in a very wonderful manner, so that at this stage you feel levitated, both physically and mentally. Like in the modern sense, putting these satellites into space. First you have this booster rocket to lift this heavy machine, a vehicle, into space, into the sky. Then after the first rocket, then you have another booster rocket, explode another booster rocket, fire another booster rocket, so that you put it higher and higher into space, and so on, maybe 3 stages. Then after it has been put into space, then what will be the experience? The experience will be people feel levitated, both physically and mentally. Since 3-stage rockets have been fired into space, the space satellite can move on without falling down. So also, with the application of these 3 stages of energy, namely Arambha Dhatu, the initial launching energy, just like launching your space rocket. We have the second stage, known as Nekama Dhatu, the liberating energy in order to overcome difficult situations, especially laziness in the practice, laxitude in the practice, sloth and torpor in the practice. You overcome it with this Nekama Dhatu, second stage rocket, second stage energy. Then there will be this Parakama Dhatu, the energy by stages in order to reach the goal or the target. Then there will be this Pegahita Virya, uplifting energy which will only lift yourself up, your practice up, instead of letting it fall down or stagnate in the middle. Then until it reaches this Paripurna fulfilling energy, Paripurna Virya, like the case of the rockets firing the satellite up into the sky, so that they are able to move about in a very light, in a weightless manner. So this is not said from imagination, but this is said what is from the possibility that such a thing is possible. When you fire these 3-stage rockets, you boost up your space satellite into space. Then when it goes into this orbit, this is become free from this gravity of the earth, go beyond the pull of the gravity. So too with the practice, as kilesa gravity is pulling you down, pulling your mind down, and you have to exert energy in order to be free to get into this space orbit, to be free from this gravity, kilesa gravity. Then only you will be uplifted. Only when you exert energy, you will be able to be free from this pull of the kilesas. Not ordinary striving, ordinary virya, but the kind of virya which should be applied at the risk of your body and life. Making a decision that let my skin and blood dry up, that sort of thing. That kind of determination is necessary. You must take risks, take up the challenge, take up the gauntlet, with the zeal to realize this extraordinary Dhamma experience. So you should make that resolution until and unless you reach the stage, and not giving in your virya. When you have these 3 stages of virya, then your mind will be free from the pull of the kilesas. When at last you reach the last stage, then you will be totally free from the gravity of kilesa gravity. And even if you wish to put your mind into, or drop your mind, let your mind enter, or let kilesas overwhelm you, the kilesas will not pull you down. You will be out of this gravity in a wonderful manner. This you will experience by yourself. But this will not happen for ordinary people. This will not happen for ordinary practitioners who are gazing or fantasizing or imagining and relaxing their energy. Only when they really undertake this practice energetically will be able to realize this goal. Another connotation of this durata, another rendering of durata is the target or the goal, what you aim at. Human beings should have their target or goal in their life, especially in this skillful practice, in order to purify the mind. You should have this target or goal. What is the target or goal for the practitioner? There must be the exact target, exact aim. The aim is to realize the assured peace and happiness, blissful peace and calmness, going beyond instead of this in place of this deadly or fatal sensual or worldly pleasures. target is to realize this assured, blissful pleasure, the genuine pleasure. And that is given as Dura, the aim or the target. Once you set down a target, it's your responsibility to strive on the path to reach that goal. If you don't do that, then you will not reach the goal. That is very important. Once you set the goal, then there must be this the reasons, the causes to reach that goal, and you have to do it. You have to carry out. If you don't carry out your duties, and if you don't set goals, or even if you set goals, if you don't carry out to reach that goal, then you are said to be heedless in a subtle way, pamada. And instead, if you have your exact goal, set an exact goal, and then you strive on the path towards that goal, that is heedfulness in a subtle way, apamala. It goes without saying that it becomes essential for everybody to undertake this. Excuse me. In this connection, there are 4 essential things that which are the responsibility of everybody. That everybody should perform these 4 things. The first one is something a thing which has to be done, which must be done. You cannot go without doing it. That is the first factor, first reason why you have to do it. Another thing is you have to do it by yourself, not through proxy. Nobody can practice on your behalf to realize the benefit of the Dhamma. Only you yourself have to exert the energy and practice to realize the Dhamma, to gain insight. Thirdly, the responsibility of everybody is timely and regularly practice. Doing in a timely manner and doing it regularly. Regularly means in the practice you sit and walk according to the set schedule, and timely means you do it in time when you are healthy, strong and healthy. And the 4th factor is highly rewarding. When a certain undertaking is rewarding, then it has to be done by everybody. It is everybody's responsibility to do it. Now the rewards are many. It has been given repeatedly in the texts, in the discourses, that there are 7 benefits accruing from the practice of the way of mindfulness, as has been declared at the beginning of the great discourse on the way of mindfulness. And in addition, there are worldly benefits which are innumerable. You cannot count them. You can gain many benefits in the worldly sense. So if an undertaking is in accordance, is in keeping, in agreement with the 4 factors, then you can say that it is essential for everybody to undertake. So when you undertake it, you got to do it by yourself, not through another person. When you have to do it definitely, you have to do it. Something, suppose you have to take a responsibility to do it, you got to do it definitely, not half-heartedly. Instead, you should have this full faith, full chanda, full zeal, leading to full lalavariya, energy, exertion of energy. Then you are bound to realize the benefits of the practice, leading to mindfulness and concentration, discerning mind and body, and gaining insight, realizing finally the blissful peace and happiness. So one may question that can I or can we not just do a little trial, just to try it as an experiment, instead of doing it so strongly, powerfully to realize the final goal. Can we not just experiment? The answer is yes. However, once it will not be so effective as you do it meticulously with definite goal and strong zeal and strong faith and real energy. During the Buddha's time, and from that time on, all along the Buddha's Sasana, Buddha's teaching, dispensation, people have come into the fold of Sasana. Those include those who are devoted, and as much as those who are not so devoted. But if they don't practice meticulously in accordance with the instructions, then they will not, those who are half-hearted, those who are not so devoted, will not realize the benefit of the practice. This sasana is known as Niyalika Sasana, the liberating dispensation or teachings which can liberate you from existential suffering. Only when you practice meticulously, you are bound to realize the benefit of the practice. If you do it half-heartedly, then your half-hearted practice will not be as effective as the full practice, hearty practice with your heart and soul. So, the advice is not to just practice for general knowledge or experiments, just to calm your mind only, but to do things as we have just said, as regards essential things. You have to just check up, or you have to take into account these 4 essential things, the reason for doing, for everybody to do that. So the reason is, as we have already discussed, it has to be done. It is compulsory. Something which is compulsory has got to be done. And then it has to be done by yourself, by oneself, not through proxy, not through another person, just like any other undertaking, worldly undertaking. And when you do it, you should do it timely, in a timely manner, or regularly. So this is essential for everybody. And then whatever is highly rewarding is essential for you. So understanding this, this is something is compulsory. You have to do it. And when it comes to compulsory undertaking, you should do it meticulously and effectively. Then only you realize the benefit in a wonderful manner. In brief, if one does not practice continuously without resting, but the resting and stopping, and sometimes stopping, sometimes practicing, not practicing continuously, in a lax manner, in a weak manner, without strong zeal, half-heartedly, not considering that this is the essential responsibility for you, then whatever you do in the retreat, you may be going about in a very easy-going way, in a lax way, then you're feeling in your duty. This is pamada, heedlessness. Instead, if you're doing it continuously, with zeal and strong energy, with full heart and soul, practicing that this is most important for you, this practice is most essential for you, then when you are moving about in a retreat, you will be moving about mindfully. Your mindfulness will be always with you, and you will not be failing in your responsibility. That amounts to apamada, heedfulness. This much for today.